a 7 o'clock meeting to order. City Council recessed to the City Council Conference Room to conduct a closed session under A, the real property relative to the deliberation of the purchase, exchange, lease, sale, or value of real property under Section 551072 of the Texas Government Code, in conference with the city manager and staff to discuss and deliberate commercial and financial information received from business prospects the city seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in the city, and to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive with the business the city is conducting economic development negotiation under Section 551087 of the Texas Government Code. We will reconvene here in 30 minutes and take any necessary action. Council returning from an executive session. Any action as a result of the executive session?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Sharon, you ready? We'll call the 7:30 meeting to order and ask you to rise. Invocation and pledge. Councilmember Sharon Rogers.
Bow with me. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to gather together this evening and conduct the business of our city. We thank you for the community that we live in. We thank you for the opportunities that we've had throughout our lives. We look forward to the Christmas season as we go forth and remember the reason for the season. We ask your guidance tonight as we make decisions for our city that it may be in the best interest of our citizens. Thank you for all your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome you to our meeting tonight. We have joint public hearings with the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Council. 3, I believe, are advertised. The procedure will be that we'll open the public hearing on each case. We'll give the staff an opportunity to introduce the request that's being made, and then the applicant will make their presentation. If anyone's here that wishes to speak for or against any of these cases, you need to register with Tara Brooks, our city secretary. She'll call on you in the order that you've registered. After the testimony closes tonight, the Planning and Zoning Commission will meet in their room to the right. It's a public meeting. We'll discuss the merits of the applications and recommendations to the council. In the meantime, the council has a short agenda that it will fulfill. And we're invited you to be a part of our government tonight. We begin by opening the conditional use, public hearing on conditional use permit CU 24-42, and ask Eric Moronic to introduce the request.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, Chairman, and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to revise the previously approved conditional use request for a planned commercial center. This request is specifically to construct an electric vehicle charging station development. The subject property is located at 1815 South Main Street and contains approximately 0.8 of an acre. It is also zoned CC Community Commercial District and is undeveloped. The applicant intends to develop 24 stalls for electric vehicle charging stations, which will operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The development will also feature 3 canopies over the 24 level 3 charging stations. There will be 3 points of access provided by 2 existing access easements, 1 easement adjacent to South Main Street on the west side of the site and 1 easement at the northeast corner of the site. This concludes staff's presentation. The applicant, Jesse Kent, is here this evening to present and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. My name is Jesse Kent. My address is 2621 Marvel Astoria Street, Henderson, Nevada. Good evening, City Council. Good evening, Planning Commission. I am a project manager for Guggenheim Retail Real Estate Partners, which is headquartered here in Frisco, Texas. We are a national build-to-suit developer for several clients, including BP's exciting new launch of Pulse EV charging stations. BP Pulse is committed to providing coast-to-coast public charging station options, which are convenient, fast, and reliable. Guggenheim's been tapped to find locations in close proximity to major airports to facilitate a growing rideshare demand for electric charging services. Maybe you're familiar with the fact that Uber's worked hand in glove with Tesla. In Las Vegas, where I live, a lot of Tesla drivers can get subsidized to drive a Tesla. It is part of their wage package as they drive and actually make more money per drive in an EVS versus a regular standard combustible engine car. I'd like to begin by thanking staff for their hard work for getting us to tonight's meeting. We originally brought this project to pre-app back in June of 2023. At that time, as some of you may be aware, there were inconsistencies in how the EV charging was going to be handled at code level, as it was mostly silent regarding EV as a primary use. I believe there was some code that existed as an accessory use. I think there was some question in the city about how it was being implemented on a case-by-case basis. Staff put a moratorium in place in order to investigate this issue. During the winter and spring of 2023 and 2024, that code was written and developed and passed. This new code came out in relatively short order. So I'd like to make a big thank you to staff and your help from the fact of moving this along. We see EV as obviously the future of transportation, and this package tonight, I think, is at the tip of the spear as far as on the other side of the code being released. Turning to the site plan, some of the items have already been talked about. Currently, the property is a vacant grass lot. The site does have direct access to Main Street via a shared access road. It ties into Schlotsky's to the north on that shared access, and then to the rear to the Super 8 motel. Shared access will also allow traffic to come from the south, albeit not from the public right-of-way, but from the Texas Gun Experience. This project will have a blend of Tesla and Alpatronic Level 3 chargers for a total of 24 EV parking spaces. I know not everybody has an EVS vehicle, so I'd like to talk a little bit about Level 3 and what that might mean. Level 3, it would be the highest, most powerful charging pedestal that's available to commercial use. It is, in the case of the Alpatronics, a direct run of DC current. The Alpatronics pedestal in particular is the fastest in the American market today. It's made in Italy. It just came out this year. We're super excited to see it get out into the field. Some people, and I think there's a lot of disinformation about what charging times look like. Much like your cell phone back in the day where you never want a 100% charge, you're looking to get about an 85% charge in order to prolong the history or the lifespan of the battery. What we're looking at for, on say the Alpatronics, the fastest, if you came in at about 1%, basically on electric fumes, if you will, you'd be at a 35 to 45 minute charge from the Alpatronics. The lifestyle, what we're seeing as these become more ubiquitous in the marketplace, we're seeing that, of course, people have a level 1 charger at home. So we're excited to see the Level 3 be used in different ways as time progresses, from the standpoint of somebody maybe doing a top-off that would last 3 to 8 minutes, just enough for them to say get home and then charge overnight. So I think you're going to see consumer changes in behavior based on, again, how routes change, how this obviously enters more into the marketplace and people's driving behavior and habits. The site plan there, I think one of the things that was key to, again, the code coming out and this being a primary use was the beautification of the lot as being currently vacant and grass, but then go into a use that's basically a parking lot that does have the charging pedestals. Pedestals look nice. They've got Gemco steel canopies over the top of them. These would be the same quality that you would see for a gas station type quality canopy. We were asked by staff to include a trash enclosure that's been featured on the site in order to collect trash from a trash receptacles throughout the site. BP plans on having local property management circulate through the site from time to time in order to empty trash, address any problems, perhaps graffiti, lights out. There are under canopy lights. There are also parking lot pole lights on site for safety security 24/7. BP will also have security cameras attached to these lights, which feed back to their property management in order to monitor the site 24/7. Through the EVS app, the Pulse EVS app, you can notify them of a machine that might be down. If anybody knows about EVS machines, reliability is a real problem in the public or in the sector. So BP is definitely aware of the fact of making sure they get that information as soon as possible. The service technicians can be on site. We have found with testing and polling behavior, if people go to a site and machines tend to be down, people don't go back to that site. And that is not good for, obviously, the end product to their client, for revenue, et cetera. Finally, just wanted to focus on the beautification in total with the landscape plan. There was already a pretty aggressive setback to the front of the property based on the corridor and the zoning that's in place. But you'll note that the landscape plan, I believe, is fairly robust with perimeter trees on both interior lot lines and across the front of the property. And then we have the use of native shrubs and landscape approved by staff around the area of the equipment yard and, of course, the trash enclosure. Nobody wants to see the trash enclosure, so that is surrounded as well by landscape. With that, those were kind of the key things I wanted to hit on as far as what came out of the moratorium, the passing of the code, meeting the requirements of the code, and being here tonight in front of all of you. So hopefully I can answer any questions as we proceed, but thank you for your time.
Question? Is there going to be a standalone building with this, like selling Cokes and
There is no standalone building at this
so
time.
no attendance or anything?
No, there is no attendant. It is unattended.
No restrooms either or anything?
No restrooms.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Do you have any other facilities in DFW right now?
Not in the DFW metro area that we've built out, no. I've got one under construction right now in Duarte, California, which is more of a metro area. It's not directly next to an airport, but building that one and currently have about 7 other under contract. The closest would be, we've got one over by Love, a second one at Love, and 2 in Houston.
And so, and just to clarify, this
Yes.
is primary, not secondary to Texas Code Experience or any of the other?
That's correct.
facilities?
This is a completely separate use. Yeah.
So back to the question about a building. So you're there, you want to totally charge up, and it's 105 degrees outside. What do people at the other locations do during that time in extreme heat?
Yeah, they would stay in their car. You can charge while in your car with the air conditioner on. And the canopy really is not so much to protect the equipment. The equipment's waterproof, weatherproof, and we've experienced in Florida with obviously the heavy flooding and things of that nature. If they get to a certain point, it will destroy the machine. But from the standpoint of the canopy, the shade is there primarily for the user, the end user.
Any seating around? I don't see any.
No seating is
benches, anything
proposed.
like that? Okay, thank you.
No other questions?
Questions from the council?
Question about more the general business plan, because this is still something kind of new. This is a new idea around here.
Absolutely.
How do you come up with how many stations that you should have in this area? What kind of utilization that you'll get? How do you, I'm just trying to get a sense.
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, just reflecting back to the business model, that I wouldn't have all the answers on, say, ROI and BP's long-term plans. Of course, my company, Guggenheim, ties up the property. We do the development. We purchase the property, and we hold a lease with BP for a period of time. So obviously, internal to our budgeting, they back check that on their ROI. So there's some things I'm not privy to, but in answer to your question, a lot of it is, and let me point to, there was a famous interview with the current Secretary of Transportation on a Sunday morning show where he was somewhat raked over the coals for a lot of money at the federal level, and I believe the line was that only 7 or 8 EVS stations have hit the ground running. The big bottleneck to all of this are the utility companies. And the selection of the number of spaces, and I've seen this progress is from when we started 1.5 to 2 years ago, is in a lot of places, you're limited right out of the bat about the size of the transformer they're going to give you. So this transformer would allow us to do one single transformer that we typically assume that the utility is going to give you 3 kVW or a 25 kVW in order to power the number of spaces that we have on a direct feed. If you think about the way these work is that if every one of those spaces is taken up at one time, they're sharing, they're kind of drinking off the fountain, if you will. If you pull up by yourself and nobody else is there, you will get a faster charge experience out of it from the standpoint, again, that the bottleneck, basically the through line is from the electric. So we started this 2 years ago at BP looking at spaces with 50 spots, 60 spots. They quickly figured out again that the way to go here is to base it on the majority of what we're being able to get, at least east of the Mississippi. California, they're offering giving more transformers per site, but they've been doing this for a long time, and the subsidies are there. And in fact, in a lot of cases, the utility company ends up picking up the tab to do all the extra power that's needed to be brought to these sites. So
So I guess I'm trying to get a sense for, you're talking about 24 stalls.
yes.
Most people would prefer to just go home, plug into their level 1, so they can go get, dinner or watch TV or whatever, instead of sitting there waiting for 30 or 40 minutes. So I just kind of get a sense for, in the other stations that you have like this,
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of traffic do you have? I mean, what kind of cars per
Well,
day?
you do, and again, I'd like to remind you that we've been tasked to look around airports from the standpoint, again, and I'm very familiar with Las Vegas. I'd say 90% of the Ubers I take are Tesla. They're driving 12 hours straight, and that's almost 2 charges in one day. So again, they're not going home in a level 1 that's going to take 5+ hours. They are going in, and in the case of Las Vegas, we've already hit saturation. The problem with Las Vegas is that people are pulling up and every one of them's taken. So we're just seeing a movement, and I think BP, obviously from a couple different reasons, they're diversifying their portfolio, they're involved in renewable energies, there are subsidies out there. I'm not prone to understand what all of them are and how they work, but at the end of the day, we're going to see more and more people utilizing it just so that they can stay back out on the roads and keep going.
So this is the BP British Petroleum that's...
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yep.
And then, how dependent on the subsidies is this model? mean, if the
I don't know. That's the part I'm not privy to. I don't have much information there for you.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm not that familiar with electric cars and
Sure.
how you use them and they operate, but if you're pulling up to get your car recharged under this canopy, if there's nothing to entertain me, or there's no chairs, or there's nothing, I'm going to sit in my car. Obviously, most people would. So when you're sitting there, it's basically going to cost me more to sit there and do that, because I'm going to be running my car, my radio, probably whatever, using whatever electricity that takes to charge at your station. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, you would have some drain on your battery, but again, a minimal next to what you're pulling into the car. And I think there's a pretty good reason why, if you've been in a Tesla, Elon's put a number of games, if you will, on the computer screen. They've kind of thought ahead to this stuff from the standpoint that, again, there is, and the reason I wanted to get into kind of level 3 and how they work is that there's a lot of misinformation that there's some new product coming along that will do it in 10 minutes or 5 minutes. The bottleneck on that particular issue of this going faster than 35 or 40 minutes for a full charge, and again, people are happy to sit for 5 minutes, again, enough to get home, plug it in at home, sit it overnight, whatever their lifestyle affords them, is that eventually you get to a heating problem within the actual lines that go underground. They get too hot. And if you charge it faster, it will be in the technology of the battery before it's in the technology of the wires from the pedestal back to the transformer. So again, I would point you towards like a Tesla, where obviously they've in some cases I think have too many games, because you'd like them to be thinking about driving rather than games. But I'm not here to promote that one way or the other.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's talk about sales tax. So how does that relate to sales tax, and how does it affect our city and or the consumer?
I don't know anything about sales tax. I have to be quite honest. I'm happy to dig in anything and get you information, but I don't know.
So these cars, though, I know they're looking into how they're going to be taxed to the regulation, correct? And so how does that affect it to sales tax to our city, or is there going to be taxes paid at all?
You're talking about, say, for example, instead of paying a fuel tax to the road, an electric tax.
Right.
I don't know. That's on a state-by-state basis, and again, I would have to grab that information for you and provide it.
So BP will be the owner of the lease,
That's correct.
and so are they the ones who prepared the application that you're representing them here tonight?
My company provided it. We are the build-to-suit developer.
Okay. In looking at it, it appears that this may have been something that was either intended for or copied from another location.
I saw that too.
Because it says in here that this is a redevelopment. The property has not had any development on it. And it also says that this use is intended to be an amenity feature for the existing business. There's no business on this tract, as customers are going to and from Midway Airport. Well, Midway Airport is a long way from Grapevine, Texas. It's up close to Chicago.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking at. Happy to take a look at, yeah.
Part of your application.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you said that this is going to be used by the general public going to and from whichever airport they might find convenient. And yet it's for the use of the existing business. So I'm seeing a little bit of confusing language here as I try to evaluate this. The property is zoned community commercial, which is what Councilmember Leal was referring to when it comes to sales tax. And community commercial property here in Grapevine is precious nowadays. Of course, it has been always, but especially now because we're almost completely built out. And so the commercial businesses that we have to pay sales tax in addition to ad valorem property taxes. But the sales tax is something that we rely on heavily in this town. And so retail establishments pay sales tax to us. That includes restaurants, that includes retail shops like clothing, house goods, and things of that nature. That's ergo why Mr. Leal asked the question about the sales tax that this would generate. So what is the cost for a car to pull up and charge? Is it based on the minute, based on the hour? How is that calculated?
Yeah, it's based on the number of minutes, and I don't have a good number for you as far as what that would be a charge under Encore. They'd be the provider here.
What would you charge the customer if I pulled in and wanted to charge an electric car, which I do not have, and I do not intend to have one, but what would it cost me to charge a vehicle for so many minutes?
Yeah, again, I'd have to get back with you on that information. My company in particular doesn't own the pedestal, therefore we're not charging you. I'd have to get to BP and Encore to figure out what the local cost of it would be.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Any other questions? Apparently not. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Do we have any correspondence?
Yes, sir, there's one letter of support in front of you.
Do we have anyone wishing to speak?
No one signed up, sir.
Chairman.
We need a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? None opposed?
Commission voted to close the motion from the council.
I'll move to close.
Second.
All in favor, all opposed, motion closes. Mr. Romolo, my monitor's not working anymore. Public hearing is now open on conditional use permit CU 24-44. Erica Marani.
This is a request for a conditional use permit to install fencing around an existing nonprofit educational institution for security purposes within the required front yard. The subject property is located at 3750 William D. Tate Avenue. The site contains approximately 7.2 acres and is zoned CC Community Commercial District. The proposal is to add approximately 1,300 linear feet of fencing in the required front yard. A double swing gate is proposed at the main vehicular access at the northeast entrance to the site, and an exit slide gate is proposed located at the southeast corner of the site. During pickup and drop-off hours, traffic will enter the site through the northeast entrance circle around the existing parking lot, and exit through a slide gate at the southeast corner of the site. Adequate turnaround and stacking space is proposed when entering and exiting from William D. Tate Avenue. Public Works and Engineering has identified no issues with the proposed traffic circulation as proposed. No other changes are proposed for the site, which features a 64,000 square foot building, internal courtyard, parking lot, and playground. The applicant, Mr. Tom Ross, with the Diocese of Fort Worth, is here this evening to present to the council and commission and answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
You're not set up for short people, I can see that. So, my name is Tom Ross. I live at 7943 Raintree Way in Frisco, Texas, and I am the Director of Construction Facilities for the Diocese of Fort Worth. I'm here to talk about the fence at Holy Trinity Catholic School and the installation of that fence. The primary reason for that is security. The world has changed, and we have a great concern about the security for our children and the people that work at our school. We are proposing to put a fence around the entire campus and secure that campus. And so that's the main approach for everything that we're here for this evening. And if there are any questions about that process, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions for Mr. Ross?
I've got some questions. What type of fence are you going to put up?
It's an ornamental type fence, and to be honest with you, I can't answer the height of the fence.
Okay.
6 feet.
6 foot, sorry.
And does the property back, is it next to neighbors? Anywhere, is the neighborhood abutting that property anywhere?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I want to be able to put the...
okay. I couldn't tell on that. Can you see that slide? Sure. Okay. So, as you can see, our entrances are going to be on the William D. Tate Avenue side. The back side is River Oaks Drive, and that is a roadway and a greenway right up against that roadway between our school. And on the other side is a cemetery, and then another greenway and buildings on the, what would be planned north on this slide. Okay, I don't have any more questions, do you?
No other questions? No other questions?
Questions from the council?
So with this, you're just going to do the eastern border and then just keep the fencing that's already in place for the south, west, and north side of your property, right?
It'll all be new, right? Yeah, I mean, it will all be new fencing. Is that what you're asking?
Well, it looked like from the previous diagram, you're just doing the east side along William D. Tate Avenue. So I'm presuming that the other three sides are as they are, because I know that you have some fencing, you have a wall on the west side, and then some other fencing against the cemetery and the other office building, right?
So our plan is to add a fence along William D. Tate Avenue. That would be brand new. There's nothing there right now. There is probably 4-foot chain link fence by the cemetery and on the far north side of the property, and we plan to replace that.
Okay. But then,
And then back behind is a brick wall.
so that the west side stays as is with the wall, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
In the mic, in the microphone.
Into the mic.
I'm so sorry. Karen Ullman. I live at 320 Ellicott Drive, Roanoke, Texas.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
What kind of entry gate will there be, and will it be manned?
It will not be manned, no ma'am. It will have a call box if necessary, but during the pickup and drop-off hours or any planned event, the gates will be left open.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all very much for your presentation. Do we have anyone wishing to speak?
Yes, Your Honor, I have two speakers.
Okay.
Mike Short, 1000 Hillside Drive in Keller.
Mike is going to decline speaking.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Michael Hall, 1304 Mulholland Drive in Grapevine.
Council members and Mr. Mayor, thank you for having me today. I bet y'all think I'm here to talk about the Catfish Hut, and I'm not. When my father, Junior Hall, passed away last year, I assumed his role on the board of directors of Parker Memorial Cemetery that resides next door to the school. I'm here to speak in support of this fence, and let me tell you why specifically. I've been working directly with the Grapevine Police Department. We have had many people break into businesses on Hall Johnson, at the corner of Hall Johnson and William D. Tate, and they literally run through the cemetery to try to escape, and nothing would make me happier for them to meet something on the other side that would prevent them from escaping. And it would also allow us to tear down a very, very 60 or 70-year-old chain link fence that is just covered in vines and stuff, because they're going to put up this brand new beautiful fence, and so it'll just make the cemetery look better and also make it more secure. These people do run through our cemetery and they knock over headstones. It's a constant problem. It's a very sad problem. So I am here to support it, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others?
No, sir, there is one letter in opposition in front of you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We need a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor? None
Session
opposed?
closed, a motion from the council.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor, all opposed, the public hearing is closed. Public hearing is open on CU 24-49 and Plan Development Overlay PD 2407. Erica Moronic.
Yes, sir. This is a request for a conditional use permit to amend the previously approved conditional use for a planned commercial center. The request is specifically to allow a 5-story hotel with 201 rooms that also features the possession, storage, and retail sales of off and on-premise consumption of alcoholic beverages, beer and wine only. The applicant is requesting as well a planned development overlay to deviate from open space requirements, impervious surface area, and perimeter landscaping requirements. The subject properties are addressed as 1031 and 1041 West State Highway 114 and contain approximately 3.2 acres altogether, and this lot is proposed, or lots are proposed to be replatted into one lot. The property is currently developed as 2 separate lots with 2 vacant restaurants, which are zoned CC Community Commercial District. The proposed hotel is a dual-brand hotel, Hampton by Hilton and Hilton 2 Suites by Hilton. The proposed building is approximately 75 feet in height. The hotel's exterior features include one main entry along the south building elevation adjacent to Crossroads Drive. It will also feature a warming kitchen, full-service indoor exercise facility with fitness equipment, spa and wellness area, outdoor pool, and outdoor flex space. Beer and wine sales are proposed from an interior grab-and-go area adjacent to the main entrance, which will be restricted to guests only of the hotels. This site requires 201 parking spaces. 165 parking spaces are proposed. Through this conditional use request, the applicant is asking to vary both the building height at 75 feet. This is 25 feet taller than the maximum height for the community commercial district, and also to vary parking requirements through the conditional use request. They have provided a parking analysis and concluded approximately 160 parking spaces would satisfy the peak parking demand for the hotels. There are 3 existing points of access to the site, one along eastbound service road of West State Highway 114, one along Crossroads Drive, and the other is a shared access between the adjacent property to the west, which was formerly occupied by California Pizza Kitchen. The planned development overlay request is to reduce the amount of open space below the required 30% of the lot area. Please note that hotels or motels within a community commercial district have an enhanced landscaping requirement of 30% versus any other development that would need to provide a minimum of 20%. They are sitting at about 23% with this request. They are also going to exceed the maximum amount of impervious surface area at 70%. They're at approximately 77% impervious surface area. And they are also requesting to reduce perimeter landscaping of a 10-foot buffer to 3 feet along the west property line and 5 feet along the southwest property line. The applicant, Hitesh Darwala with O-Life Hospitality, is here this evening to present to you and answer any questions the commission or council may have. Thank you.
Hitesh Jariwala, 8601 Lindenwood Lane, Irving. I'm here to present our Hampton by Hilton and Home 2 Suites by Hilton Combo 201 room project. At this time, we own 5 Hilton properties in DFW area. We built our first Hampton Inn in Greenville, Texas in 2006. We built the Hilton Garden Inn in Denton, Texas in 2010. We built a Homewood Suites by Hilton in Trophy Club, Texas in 2016. We built the True by Hilton in Capel, Texas in 2019. At this time, we have the Homewood Suites by Hilton under construction in Capel. And we're also about to start construction, probably summertime, Temple by Hilton in Fort Worth Southside on Magnolia Avenue. I also sit on the Homewood Owners Advisory Council. Also, my family's favorite restaurant was CPK. We probably ate there a couple hundred times. I've been going to that restaurant since the mid-90s. And over the years, those 2 restaurants have closed down multiple times. Something has come in and it kind of failed and it's shut down. I think for the last 7-8 years, both of those restaurants have been closed forever. So I always wondered if the hotel was a option for these two restaurant pads, but because of y'all's requirement for the 300 rooms and so forth, it just was not possible. So thanks to y'all, when you guys changed the hotel code, this became a possibility. So we approached the staff on seeing if this was possible. So we got some good feedback, so that we started working on it. Thanks to the seller, Mr. Preston and his mom, they've been very supportive in getting us the information so that we can put this project together. I want to thank the city staff, my architect, James and Connor, and also Kirkman Engineering, because we literally put this entire package together within 1 month, and we submitted to the city staff, and then the city staff communication was very good that we were able to come in front of you in less than 2 months. And I'm a Hilton guy. We do nothing but Hilton properties, and Hampton Inn and Home 2 Suites are the 2 most successful Hilton brands right now. And we're very privileged and honored for us to do this development. And I'm really hoping that us bringing 201 rooms will help that whole block, because a lot of the restaurants have shut down. With us bringing in foot traffic from the hotel guests, I'm hoping some of the restaurants come back. Somebody invests in those restaurants and kind of becomes a lively area again. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions.
Questions?
So on the part, you have a 201 room and 165 parking space. How does that translate?
So we own the True by Hilton in Capel at 635 Beltline, and most of our properties are corporate properties. Probably the last 3, 4, 5 years, the pattern has changed because most of the guests, probably 40% of the guests, 50% of the guests, just do not drive cars. They're always Ubering or Lyfting or Lyft. And also what's happened in the leisure weekend business, a lot of the families are not renting the cars anymore, and they're just using an Uber and Lyft. So our parking lots are just sitting empty. We did the parking analysis, and I also submitted to the city stats for our True by Hilton 127 room property, and we were barely averaging 42% of the percentage of, so if we rented 100 rooms, we were averaging 42 cars in our parking lot. So, and that pattern is going to go more and more as the autonomous cars come. The reality is people are just, especially hotel guests, they're just not going to be driving cars because of the convenience and the safety of Uber, Lyft, and then the automatic cars that are coming in the future.
You done? Yeah, I'm good. So kind of go back to the parking issue, and I hear what you're saying, but I think in this scenario, we have a lot of people come to Grapevine for, like, with their Little League teams, and they're driving here from all around the state, all around the country for, like, our Little League World Series. I think you might really reconsider that. Also consider, I don't know if you've looked at doing a different footprint, reduce your room size to get that open space that we require. I don't know if y'all considered that at all, but I think you really need to consider the parking differently here, because Grapevine's a little bit different.
I completely understand that. And also what happens on the weekend business, a lot of the sports teams, when they come, a lot of times they're sharing the cars, and they're driving a big SUV where it's actually two families driving together, or minivans. But we have not, all the properties that we own, we've had other parking variances at our other hotels. We've never had issues where we've ran out of parking. And even on weekends when the families are visiting, a lot of them, from what we see, they're using more and more Uber and Lyft. But and also, most likely we will have a shuttle, and a lot of the business at this site will be airport business. So it's going to be a combination, so 160 should be sufficient. We're going to have a shuttle now, but at some point, hotels will stop running shuttles because even when we have shuttles at our hotels, most of the corporate people do not take shuttles because the time that requires a waiting period. So people just prefer the Uber and the Lyft option.
Can you describe, the description of the hotel as a full-service gym and then a spa and wellness center? Can you describe what those amenities are?
So the gym is going to have all the cardiac, couple of ellipticals, couple of treadmills, weight lift machines, cycle bike. It's going to have a full gym, and then we are doing some more research. The city, it was one of the requirements that we had to meet for the new code. So we have the space called out, but we haven't figured out what we're going to do, if it's going to be like a yoga room or, but we've got the space called out, and we're doing some more homework to kind of figure out what we can do in that room. James and I have talked, but we're not sure what the city kind of wanted in that area, but we've got the space called out, and we're going to do some more research and come up with an option that will be convenience for the guest.
And that's not just the outdoor pool area, that's a separate area on the plans?
Yeah, it's a separate 1,000 square foot room that was required that was one of the requirements that we had to provide. So we've created a 1,000 square foot room next to the fitness room and by the pool area, and that's where that area is going to be.
Thank you.
Part of your request is to reduce the amount of open space below the 30%. What are you reducing it to?
I think we're at 23%. What happened is there's a line that only is specific to the hotel, and we have two massive patio areas, but whatever the green space is inside the patio area is not counted towards the 30% requirement. I think if those, in our other developments, if we have green space in in our patio areas, that has been counted for the total requirements. So that's where the challenge we ran into. We tried to reduce the total number of rooms from 201 to maybe 180 rooms where we would meet all the requirements, but 200 room was a must for this project to happen. So we couldn't reduce the rooms, and since we couldn't reduce the rooms, this was the only viable option.
Okay. Thank you.
You're also reducing the perimeter landscape from 10 feet to 3 feet?
Actually, what happened is, right now, the current condition is the 10-foot buffer is there, but that 10-foot buffer is on the CPK site. So with the new rules, what the city staff, to my understanding, said is the new requirement would be, we would be adding another 10 foot of additional green space. So then it would turn into 20 feet because there's 10 feet already that's on the CPK site. So the landscaping is there, the existing landscaping, and the 10-foot buffer is already there.
And then,
So the landscaping, what we've done is we've taken the footprint of the two restaurant pads, and we have literally copied that and try to add on more to the current requirements.
you want to say something?
You got anything to say?
James Leslie, 920 South Main Street. We're the architects for the project. So the existing, that landscape strip, it's existing to remain. We're not changing any of that. So that was kind of the idea. And then they asked us about that landscape strip, and so that's why we're asking for the variance, because we just want it to stay like it is. And
What about the
Yes, ma'am.
southwest property line, the other?
It's the property line between us and the California Beach Kitchen.
Okay. But then you're also reducing the west property line to 5 feet.
Yeah, it's too many.
Are you reducing that one also?
No, ma'am.
No, so that's
No,
okay.
just the one between us and California Beach
Okay,
Kitchen.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other side is the state side.
Yeah, the other side's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so I've got another question then. You're also asking for a variance for 25 feet higher on the building? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And why is that?
Well, the room requirement is 201 rooms, so for us to fit 201 rooms, we have to go to at least 5 stories. We actually thought that we may have to go to 6 stories to make the project work, but we were able to accomplish this by going to 5-story and get to the minimum 200 room count.
You were talking about the landscape buffer. You're saying there's an existing one that's 10 feet, but is it on your property?
No, excuse me. No, there's a 10-foot buffer between the two properties, right?
But it's not on your
It's
property,
like 2
though.
feet on our property and the rest is on their property, right?
Okay.
If we add it, now we're looking at a 20-foot buffer.
Okay.
And so all we're asking is that it just stay like it is.
But if somebody came in and redeveloped that California pizza.
Theoretically, but then
could-
they would have to
I
have a
mean,
10-foot buffer as well.
well, Still, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No other questions?
I have several questions. I like the idea because it's been pretty dormant over there for quite a while. I struggle with the amount of deviations you're asking for. It sounds like you're sort of blaming the city, and we have tried to be as flexible as we can to provide opportunities for hotels to come in that aren't just the great big hotels. So I'm going to ask Erica a question, because I know when we redid the ordinance, Erica, we had, they had a choice of a certain number of things. So for example, I don't see anything here that shows that they're putting in a restaurant, which was one of the things that they could choose from. Could you
Correct.
just remind us a little bit about what that was?
Correct. So what we had was we amended the zoning ordinance, I believe, approximately 2 years ago. And we not only reduced the minimum number of guest rooms that they had to have from 300 to 200, but we allowed for a menu of options. So they
Right.
could have a full-service kitchen and other things on their first floor, and rec space. They could have outdoor space, they could have a playground, they could have a pool, that sort of thing. But we essentially gave them the opportunity to pick
Right.
I believe it was 4 items from
Right.
that menu, rather than
Right.
hard and fast, these are all the features that you have to have as a full-service hotel.
Right, and we had a reason why it was hard for us to reduce the number of rooms, because when the mall came in, we had all kinds of small service, limited service hotels wanting to come into Grapevine. I have a couple more questions for you, sir, please. I noticed on here, you show a warming kitchen. You don't show any sort of food service other than a warming kitchen on the plan, is that correct?
We would do the free breakfast in the morning, and that's where the kitchen will have ovens, freezers, all the requirement for a kitchen that we'll be using.
Okay. Yeah, I just struggle with the amount of
And I
exceptions you're asking
sorry,
for.
I apologize. My intention was not to blame the city. Actually, the staff has been remarkable in communicating to make this project happen. So that was not my intention.
No, I know that, and I appreciate that. I just wanted you to understand, we purposely have tried to create flexibility so that we don't end up with a whole lot of very limited service hotels. So we want the hotels in Grapevine to have some of these kinds of amenities. So there's a reason for it, that's all. I just wanted you to
And we
understand that.
are meeting all the 4 requirements that is part of that we can pick. I think we have over 3,000 square foot of patio. We have the kitchen. We have the swimming pool area. We have it's on the. That's the first page.
Any other questions?
Oh, no, we're not finished.
I'm
yet.
done, Mayor.
Hold on.
Definitely have a question, and I'm done.
Yeah, it's on. There was another one. Okay.
So, as you can see, guys, we're going above and beyond in the pool areas. We're gonna do a nice high-end swimming pool and outdoor space. We have the more private outdoor space in the back of the pool, and then in the front we have a large more open public seating area. You know, it's for hotel guests, but it's in the front. It's not walled off like the pool will be. So we are providing a lot of amenity area. And to the open space, you know, we are compliant with the CC requirements, just as the fact that the hotel is an additional 10%. And so if we were allowed to count the patio spaces that we have as open space, we would be compliant. But I guess the code is only for green space, pervious space instead of. So that's kind of, you know, we are meeting it in open space. It's not just in straight grass, if you will.
So what was the thinking of making it 5 floors instead of a smaller footprint on 6 floors to get the 200 rooms you
Good
need?
question. Yeah, and the parking.
It's to be honest, it's cost and maximizing the efficiency of the project, right? So a 5-story building is much more doable than a 6-story building on that site for the revenues that it'll generate. Right?
Okay.
May I ask, in looking at the image that's on the screen, there's a small rectangular building behind the hotel. What is that, please? Is that the swimming pool?
That's the patio swimming pool area.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
It's actually like the way James has designed the patio area. It's actually some of the part is under the. Can you describe how it's under the building? So it's very.
Yeah. So it'll be a kind of an indoor-outdoor space with the spa and gym facing the patio, right? And so the spa will face that outdoor space that you could see behind to the left of the pool. It's a little hard to see on this, but between the pool and the building, there'll be an outdoor seating area that's underneath the building. That'll be, you know, it's an amenity area for the hotel.
I don't have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No,
No, go.
you first. Age.
Age? Oh,
Age,
come
go
on.
ahead.
I just have a comment. I'm gonna have to go home to my wife now because I told her there was a spa in this hotel, all right? And
Maybe.
you've made it clear that it's not a spa. So how am I gonna explain to her, it's really not a spa? So what exactly is it?
It's a Hilton.
They don't know yet.
To be honest with you, we're still working on the programming for that, right?
Well,
We
so,
put this together.
so I'm going to have my wife call you and explain
That's
to her
fine,
that
but
it's
it-
really not a spa.
We do have a space designated in the building for a spa and wellness. We haven't fully worked out what that program is going to be yet because it's an addition to the standard Hilton programming, right, for a Hampton and a Home 2. So it's an additional program that we're going to have to figure out. But we do have a designated, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact square footage off the top of my head, but we do have a designated space that we're going to implement some type of spa and wellness facility. Now, it won't necessarily be a full-on luxury spa, but it will be some type of maybe treatment rooms and things like that.
I also just had a comment. I just want to thank you for the efforts. Crossroads is a challenging area, and I've always thought, what restaurants can go there? And now you've gone outside the box, bring a hotel, a double-branded hotel, and I understand that you have some exceptions that you're asking for. The parking, I don't have an issue with because I do agree with you somewhat on the Uber and Lyft. But I just, I want to appreciate, I'm excited that you looked at this particular location because this may be what we need to kind of kickstart that area to attract more businesses. So it was just a comment.
Mr. Chairman, you have.
I have one other question, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, the request is for beer and wine also, allow the possession, storage, retail sales on and off premises of alcoholic beverages, beer and wine. Is that something y'all are specifically requesting?
Yes, Hilton requires us to sell beer and wine in our pantry. And also, the new trend is putting tap a beer, wine, seltzer. So it's self-serve system where the guests would come to the front desk, we would check the ID, and then we would give them a RFID card, and then the guests would use it on the machine, and it scans it, and then guests can get any beers, wine, self-serve, and it meets the legal requirement of number of drinks that a person can drink in an hour. So it's a self-sufficient system that a lot of the hotels are putting in. So we probably would have like a 10 to 12 taps of beer, wine, seltzer, that's going to be in the lobby.
The lobby. Okay, thank you.
Some of your hotels have, in addition to the free, I assume you're going to do your little breakfast area in the morning, some also have some sort of like a happy hour in the afternoon as well. Are you planning to do that?
So that's kind of, the trend is like at our Homewood, we would do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now we're just doing it once a week.
Oh.
And a lot of the hotels have just gone away from the happy hours because it does get pretty costly.
Yeah. Okay.
Is most of your customers, you anticipate just be a one-night stay?
I would probably say we probably would average probably 2.8 nights per stay. This will be mainly a corporate hotel, so our busiest days are going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. The good part about here is that there is a lot of leisure business with a lot of the sports teams and so forth. So we've actually, I think we've got out of the 201 rooms, almost 80 rooms are 2 beds to cater to the families and sports and so forth on the weekends, but it's going to be mostly corporate hotels, and we typically average around 2.5 to 2.8 nights per stay.
All right, well, I can understand with the number of restaurants that we have that you might not want to provide one in-house.
But the airport does play a big role in it. Because of the airport, there is a lot of,
Pick up and take around. Mr. McCallum, will that be true? Will our shuttle pick up at this hotel and take them to the restaurants?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Well, and also,
Anything else?
I think, we've had restaurants that have failed in that area, but having a hotel there is a big plus for a restaurant coming in, so they don't have to rely on just local traffic, but now they've got a hotel with guests from out of town coming in. I think that'll be an incentive for other good restaurants in that area, so.
We see it as hopefully, 200 built-in guests for these restaurants, customers for these restaurants and stuff in the area. And we really do hope that it is a catalyst to bring some of those
And it's
businesses
walking
back.
distance, so that'd be
Correct,
nice.
yeah. And Type 6 is a local company. We're here in Grapevine, so we're going to do everything that we can to make this something that we can all be proud of.
I think it'll be a catalyst for additional development there, and I'm certainly glad the Hilton flag that you've selected.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation. Do we have anyone wishing to speak?
No, Your Honor.
Any correspondence?
Yes, sir, there's one letter of support in front of you.
Did y'all have anything further?
No, sir.
I'd just like to add one quick thing about the parking. I know we're asking for a point from a variance from a 1-to-1 ratio to a 0.8 to a 1 ratio. The trend for parking in the DFW area is to reduce parking. Irving is reduced to a 0.7 to 1. Fort Worth is reduced to almost no parking. And several of the other local surrounding airport cities have reduced that parking count. So just something to think about when you're considering the project. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
I'm satisfied with your parking myself. I think you're right. These alternate ways of getting here are getting popular. My concern, though, without a restaurant, they're not going to want to call Uber to take them to a restaurant. We have a shuttle that's going to pick them up and accommodate them, so I think it'll all work out together.
We sure hope so. Hitech's putting a lot of money into it.
I know I've said it, but I just want to commend the city staff because something like this on other projects have taken us 4 or 5 months, and we were able to accomplish this in less than 2 months. It is pretty remarkable what we've done. I'm just amazed that we're here today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We need a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close.
All in favor?
Mission closed, a motion from the council.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor, all opposed, the public hearing is closed. That completes the joint meeting. We will now separate. You're invited to attend the meeting that you would like or have an interest in. And we'll begin with citizen comments in just a minute. How you doing?
Good to see you.
All right.
I recognize Preston.
Okay, Ms. Brooks, do we have any citizen comment requests?
Yes, sir, I have one.
All right. Citizen comments are on the agenda so a person can make comments on any item that they would like to by filling out a citizen's appearance request form with the city secretary. A member of the public may address the council regarding an item on the agenda before or after the council's consideration or upon recognition by the mayor or the consent of the council. Citizens have 3 minutes to address the council in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The council is restricted in discussing or taking any action. Would you introduce the speaker?
Sir, Debbie Neek, 1025 Brownstone Drive.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. It is an honor to be here tonight, and I want to share the wonderful events that occurred over Veterans Day on Main Street. I received a call from America's Wall of Honor and asking about possibly coming to Grapevine. The Wall of Honor showcases 9 areas of volunteer service in our country, with the presidential seal being the center, and then the branches of the military, and then the police and fire. There's a total of 9 emblems that are showcased on this. In less than 6 days, we had the permitting, and we had the location of the gazebo as our selection for where it would be. Grapevine would be their 4th time to come out since it was created, and it would be their very first time in Texas. Originally, they were headed to Southlake, and I told them that we were having our Veterans Parade, and this would be a great addition to the Veterans Parade at the gazebo. Tim Lampros is the owner, designer, and builder with help from others of this Wall of Honor. He's a former Hollywood set designer and stunt producer for over 17 years. He left Hollywood and went to Nebraska in 2018, and he built this entire set, which is 58 feet wide and 10 feet tall. He worked on it through COVID and got it completed. And after the Veterans Parade, we planned a brief little ceremony of dedication there at the gazebo. I had retired Colonel Kevin Sellers, who is over the VFW, to come. Grapevine's color guard with the fire and police department came out and presented the colors. I had Allison Williams, a 1998 graduate of Grapevine High School. Now, I did not know that Allison is a big deal. I just met her the day before. She sang the national anthem, and I was like, oh, can you be at the gazebo at 12 o'clock on Saturday? And now we're really good friends. She did a beautiful job. We had Chuck Barham, who is the executive director of the Wall of Honor, and we also had some music, and I had our very own Mayor Tate delivering the closing prayer as only he can do. The exhibit then went to Southlake on Sunday afternoon, and we went out on Monday night to check on them. And I asked them, I said, how's Southlake been treating y'all? And they said, really good, Debbie. They're really good here, but it's not Grapevine. There's something really, really special about Grapevine. And I told him, I said, you know, I hear that. We hear that quite often. Even today, I had a guy from Mississippi come by the jewelry store, and he's looking around, and he said, you know, there's something really special here. I'm so glad my wife is out at the Gaylord, and I had in a business meeting, and I have a chance to come down and here and meet all of you. There were people today that came by the jewelry store from Italy, Brazil, New York City, and Katy, Texas, along with the guy from Mississippi. I want to thank you, Bruno, for helping me jump over all those hoops and get the permitting. Chris Smith helped us with the electricity and got everything set up. Pastor Doug at the First Baptist Church allowed the Wall of Honor to park 3 semi-trucks. It took that 18-wheelers to get them into the parking lot, and everyone else who came and celebrated with us. It was an awesome Veterans Day on Main Street, one we will not soon forget. Thank you, everyone, for helping us get the Wall of Honor into Grapevine.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Anyone else?
No.
All right, that completes citizens' comment. And next, we go to item 7, presentations. We've got North Texas PGA here. Paul McCallum, you're going to introduce our CEO.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, colleagues, and citizens. It's certainly, first of all, I want to say that earlier this year we entered into a 3-tournament agreement with the northern chapter of the PGA, and at that time we began to work with Mr. Mark Harrison, who is the CEO of the northern chapter of the women's PGA. I left that part out. That's very important. And he has been incredibly engaged in seeing that both Grapevine and the Grapevine Golf Club, that this sponsorship is maximized. He has, even just today, and he may mention that they've added another opportunity for the Grapevine Golf Course and for this tournament. He himself is a career professional in the golf area, and so it just gives me a lot of pleasure to introduce Mr. Harrison to you all here this evening. Mark Harrison.
Thank you, PW. Honorable Mayor Tate, City Council members, thank you very much for having me this evening. This year's Destination Grapevine Texas Women's Open was a huge success. Thanks to PW, Joe, the city, Robert Singletary, the PGA Director of Golf, Eric Hunt, the PGA Head Professional at Grapevine Golf Course. Everybody rallied behind this event, and it was an incredibly successful first event. We had 156 players from all over the country. I think 6 different countries represented. Maddie Zersick from Canada shot rounds of 68, 67, -9, and won the championship and $17,000. We had a Legends of the LPGA division. Angela Stanford, who's a household name in North Texas, won the tournament with rounds of 66, 71, -7. She won $13,500. Perhaps most notably in that division of the championship, we had World Golf Hall of Famer Laura Davies play. She was incredible, and in chatting with her, she loved the golf course, loved the hospitality here with the city of Grapevine, and plans to be back next year. We also presented the Destination Grapevine Scholarship to Landry Ashmore from Colleyville Heritage High School, a junior golfer on our junior tour. She is studying business at Ole Miss now as a freshman. The tournament generated more than 1 million media impressions, and the 2025 Destination Grapevine Texas Women's Open is scheduled for May 28th through 30th. I'm also pleased to announce that just earlier this week, the Northern Texas PGA's Board of Directors announced that Grapevine PGA Head Professional Eric Hunt won the Northern Texas PGA's Professional Development Award, and also Merlin Turkelmeyer from the Grapevine Golf Course Superintendent won the Northern Texas PGA's Superintendent of the Year Award, which is a pretty big deal. There is going to be a press release on Friday that will go out that you will see. And Mayor Tate, at this time, I would like to come forward and present to you an appreciation plaque that reads, "The Northern Texas PGA section of the PGA of America presents to the Grapevine Convention and Visitors Bureau in appreciation for sponsoring the Destination Grapevine Texas Women's Open, Grapevine Golf Course, Grapevine, Texas, May 29 through 31, 2024. Thank you so much for having us."
Congratulations, thank you so much. Oh, it's really nice. Everybody said.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, wow, that's lovely.
Really nice. PW, you want to come get it?
We'll pass it down to the end.
Yeah, we'll pass it down.
We'll
Yeah,
pass
huh?
it down, we'll pass it down
there
to
so
the
they can see
end.
it.
Oh, okay. Pass it down and let PW
Yeah.
get it.
Mark, we just need a little better weather next year.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You're in charge of that,
I'll
Paul.
take care of it.
Are we going to have our new construction in place for
Yes.
May?
Yes, sir.
It'll be a different course, I think, this year when we get the facilities in. Thank you so much. It's very nice. We enjoyed being a part of it and looking forward to the future. Next, we consider ordinance 2024-098, amending the Grapevine Code of Ordinances, Chapter 12, Health and Sanitation. Is tabled from the November 5th meeting. Eric Moronic.
Yes, sir. This presentation and consideration of an ordinance was last before you at your November 5th meeting earlier this month, at which time we were seeking feedback to address 3 key issues regarding mobile food units in the city of Grapevine. In concept, the ordinance seemed to be well supported by the council. There were 10 main revisions and additions that we were asked as staff to address through revisions to the ordinance, and hence you tabled this to your meeting this evening. In summary, what we have done and what's before you in your backup materials is we have added language requiring food handler cards to be submitted and active for those working within a mobile food unit operating in Grapevine, limited operations of mobile food units within 300 feet of a school, But we've also clarified that schools can still host events where mobile food units can participate on-site through the temporary use permit process, which is specified in Section 42 of the zoning ordinance. They've also provided definitions for both temporary and seasonal permits, established a distance requirement for generators to be located at least 300 feet from residential properties when in operation. We've also updated language within the draft ordinance to specify that the mobile food units can only operate on property when the primary building has a valid certificate of occupancy and that building is actively occupied. Specified hours of operation for a mobile food unit if it's part of a private special event in a residential district. Also included a requirement that after the removal of a mobile food unit each night from a non-residential property, that the property must be left in the condition in which it found itself, so clean and all movable objects must be removed every evening, and also included a requirement that mobile food units must be in good working order, well-maintained, free of patently offensive language or images on their exterior, and to this end, they would also need to, as part of that application package to planning services, provide pictures of the mobile food unit on all 4 sides. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
All right, I thought the ordinance was well thought through and covered
Yeah.
a lot of things that may be a deficiency somewhere. We will learn as we experience it, and so we can fix it. But I thought the staff did a great job. I'm not sure what concern we might have left to deal with tonight. But if there is some, we need to get it out on the table.
I think the staff did an excellent job in addressing everything that I mentioned, and I appreciate the job you did. It was
Yeah,
good.
me too. I
You're
would
welcome.
move for approval.
Yeah, I really just want to say thank you for the clarification about the schools. I was a little bit concerned that in our efforts to make sure that we protect and are restrictive enough where we need to be, that we did not limit our schools and being able to have those food trucks. So thank you for that clarification. I think you did a great job addressing all the concerns, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
The P and Z
I
is
know.
back.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, you want to come forward?
Thank you, Sharon.
We have the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission, beginning
Yes.
with item 27.
Yes, C 2442 is denied 7-0.
I'll move that we approve the planning and zoning's recommendation of denial.
Second.
Discussion, not all in favor, all opposed, motion carries. Item 28.
CU 2444 was approved 7-0.
I move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, all opposed. 29.
CU 2449 was approved 7-0.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, all opposed, motion carries. Item 30.
PD 2407 was approved 7-0.
I'll move for
Motion is in
approval.
order.
Second.
We got a motion and a second.
Yes,
Any
sir.
discussion? Not in favor, all opposed, motion carries. Thank you for your good work, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Zoning's all approved, or except for one.
All right, we'll go back to item 9. Consider calling a public hearing to consider amendments to the comprehensive zoning ordinance 82-73, Appendix D, the Code of Ordinances, to amend various sections of the zoning ordinance in accordance with changes in state law and use and zoning laws during the 86th, 87th, and 88th Texas State Legislature. This is AM 24-04. Erica Moronic.
Yes, sir. On July 2nd of this year, we provided a status update regarding amendments to the zoning ordinance, which included 10 bills as well as cleanup and clarification items related to recent legislation from the 86th, 87th, and 88th legislative sessions. These amendments have been fully drafted, which was presented at that meeting in July. We've also discussed these with the Planning and Zoning Commission during a recent workshop on November 1st. We are therefore requesting that the City Council call a public hearing to initiate these amendments to the zoning ordinance. I'm available for any questions you may have.
The consideration is to call a public hearing. The dates?
I'll move to call a public hearing.
And I'll second that, and I think we should all hold on to these really thick packets so
Yeah,
you
it
don't
is.
have to recreate them.
We had a motion and a second.
Do we have to specify a date, and if so, when?
I do not believe so, but we are ready to come to you at our second meeting in December.
Okay, we're good.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, all opposed, motion carries. Item 10, similar, calling a public hearing to consider amendments to the Code of Ordinances dealing with clarification of electric vehicles, EV chargers as secondary use, AM 23-02B, Erica Morani.
On November 1st, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a workshop, and one of their agenda items was to discuss further regulation of electric vehicle charging stations. The commission believes that the intent of the original ordinance, which was adopted in January 2024, was for those EV charging stations to serve as a secondary use, supporting an existing permitted primary use on a property rather than functioning as a standalone use on a property. To align with this intent, draft amendment language has been included in your backup materials. If the city council agrees it is necessary to further restrict EV chargers, we request that a public hearing be called to initiate these amendments to the zoning ordinance. This concludes my presentation.
All right, do we have a motion?
Move we set the public hearing.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, all opposed, motion carries. I think that completes your evening.
Yes, sir, thank you.
The next, only thing left is the consent agenda, item 11 through 26 are not scheduled for any council debate. Any guest present can request any item be removed for further discussion at this time. Do we have any requests? Hearing none, do we have any from the council or the staff? Then 11 through 26 is the consent. A motion is in order.
I move for the approval of consent agenda items 11 through 26.
Second.
In favor, all opposed, motion carries. That completes the agenda. Thank you for being with us. Motion to adjourn is in order.
Second.
In favor, all opposed, council stand adjourned.
Yes, ma'am.